hello everybody, and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and I'm back today with yet another episode of Game of Thrones, War of the Roses. We've got a cast and crew back of us, all save for Steel Rain, who's back of us. Next week is Canadian Thanksgiving. We must all give thanks for Canada, and he's not with us today, but he'll be back next week with us to return, reprise his role as Sir Cyril Price. But the rest of us are here, and we're going to get into the action today, as we've got a very important tournament to show up for. So let's go around, let's figure out who we are, and of course, who we're playing tonight. And let's start with Jen. How's it going, Jen?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy Thanksgiving to anyone in Canada, including you, Will. It's going well. I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to see what happens today in the tournament. I'm really excited to see how this goes.
Awesome. Yeah. And yes, remind us who we'll be playing tonight as well.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I am playing Devon Rain, who is a young member of the Night's Watch, but it is becoming more and more clear that Devon has some secrets happening, and some of those started to come out last week. So we'll have to see exactly what we find out about Devon. That there's something going on. Devon is not who he says he is.
Awesome. Fantastic stuff. And of course, we have Joseph with us tonight. Joseph, how's it going, my friend?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, things are going wonderfully here. We got midterms coming up, so Cicero and I are operating on a similar stress level. He's about to go joust, of course, so one is a duel which will determine someone's future, and another is jousting. But yeah, so I'll be playing Cicero, who is the young lord of the group, who is hopefully about to kick some ass and save a young boy's life.
Yes, we'll have to see about that, I'm sure, today. But we have Kitty with us tonight. Kitty, how's it going?
Hello. Doing wonderful tonight. Running a little late, but all around pretty good. And I play Kaylee Tarbeck, who is the daughter of a blacksmith and a bubbly, happy child ready to be destroyed by the cruel world around her.
That's about right. that's about right. Oh, amazing. Great stuff.
Always a good
and last but not least, of course, we have Bird versus playing with us tonight. Bird, how's it going, my friend?
It's going fantastic. I'm super excited for tonight's session. I'm going to be playing Septon Birch, also now known as Halleck Bull, after his kind of goose got cooked last session in an unseen twist I was not prepared for. So we're going to see how his interactions with this party change now that he knows his kind of time is limited, and he's got to figure something out quick.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get into the intrigue and the mystery in just a few moments' time, but before we get into it, I'll remind you guys of a couple of things. The first of which is, of course, we're sponsored today by FantasyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice. Go check them out. The demo version is free. You can play a variety of tabletop games on Fantasy Grounds. WaylandGames.co.uk is a go-to destination for tabletop board games, war games, and minis at up to 20% off the retail value. Then last but not least, TabletopLoot.com is a place to go to get all your beautiful dice. They're going to give away a set of dice at the end of this game, so stick around to the end to be in for a chance to win that. Of course, here is a retweet for you guys. 20 retweets, you guys get to decide something which happens next in our campaign. Could be a good thing. It's Game of Thrones. It's going to be a bad thing. And of course, you can donate to affect the game at any time by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and worse. But I will remind you guys quickly what happened last week on the show in a very eventful episode of War of the Roses, as the party found themselves at Blackwood Hall, where a great tournament was being arranged and just being started. They met with a new, perhaps, ally of theirs, Sir Donald Lee, who's a young, dashing knight who wished to befriend Cicero. He's kind of got himself involved in a couple of things throughout the years, but overall he seemed like a very enthusiastic young gentleman who was happy to get involved with the party. However, they ran into some trouble as Lord Bolton of the Dreadfort arrived at Blackwood Hall to watch the tournament over the coming days. That same night, Sir Cyril Price's squire, Squire Roynard, was accused of, probably falsely, accused of having slain a deer and having been poached on the Lord's lands. Now, the party believed him to be falsely accused. The sentencing was that he would lose a hand. However, young Cyril, not young Cyril, young Cicero rather, he was stepping up for the young squire and said, listen, if I can defeat Michael Blackwood in a joust, then the boy goes free. However, if he loses the joust, then Squire Roynid is to die. So the stakes are pretty high. Meanwhile, Septon Birch had a meeting, I guess you could say, with someone who did not seem to be very friendly of him. Only went by Morton was a name that he gave him, and revealed himself to know a fair bit about Septon Birch and the rest of the party. Septon Birch, at the end of the session, told some of this knowledge to Devron. And as we pick things up, it is late in the night. Cicero is asleep, and Kaylee's out in the rest of the market. I think at this point, Septon Birch and Devron are waiting at the tent. So let's dive right back into things. But you were waiting, I think, for Cicero Price. It doesn't seem like he's going to be arriving anytime soon back to the tent, and you're left with something of an uneasy quiet between you and Devron. What would you like to do?
Yeah, what's Devron's mood like right now? What's Devron doing? Are you still out? Did you storm off? Or are you tense around?
No, I think I went back inside to Cicero, I believe, at the end of. We had our conversation, and I split off to go talk to Cicero. I believe is where we left it.
Okay.
I could be mistaken.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
So, as Birch is waiting out there for quite some time, waiting for Cyril to come back and have this conversation, kind of growing more and more frustrated with the time it's taken for him to get back, and this growing frustration even at how the Devron conversation went, because he has gone now from kind of having some semblance of control of his lies to now completely unsure where his power lies or if he has any power at all. After a few moments of realizing Cyril's not coming back anytime soon, he lets out a deep sigh and goes back in because he has another piece of information he was given by this strange man that he was told to reveal to the rest of the group. So he's going to go back in and kind of just wait for the right moment, wait for Kaylee to get back from market, and see if these words he was given mean anything to these people.
Okay. So Kaylee, what are you up to? What are you looking for in the market this evening?
I was more just kind of curious, peeking at everything, having a look at everything, maybe trinkets or famed metalsmiths, little cute, nice, maybe finer workings of metal.
Yeah, there's lots of nice little pieces around that people are, trying to flog off and sell, even as the evening grows later. Something will catch your eye. It is a small little metal carving of what looks to be a stoat, and of course this is the animal of your house, and it catches your eye. It's quite a nice little piece. There's nothing really special. It's not like it's made out of any kind of precious gem, but it's nicely carved.
Okay, so I guess you would go to that stall. Definitely interest in looking at it. And to the seller of the wares. So, can you tell me about this piece here? The weasel of sorts. The
woman running the stall nods and says, "Yes, I craft all these pieces myself. It's a little weasel or a stoat ferret thing. Yeah."
How much are you wanting for it?
She kind of looks you up and down. Doesn't look like you have a lot of money on you. She's like, a silver stag?
A whole silver stag? Just this? I suppose it's not so bad. Perhaps then I could have it then, yes?
She nods, and will happily sort of, gift wrap it in a little bit of cloth if you wanted to, and take your coin.
All right. So then after that, I would think Kaylee would probably start to go back since it's probably getting dark. And after the past few days' events, she probably wouldn't feel particularly good just being out and about on her own.
Okay. The as you get back to the tent, then you will see Septon Birch, who's sort of somewhat nervously waiting outside.
I guess Kaylee really in a pretty like in a decent mood. Hello, Septon.
Oh.
I'm a bit agitated.
Sorry.
Away with the
Miss
fairies.
Scaly. Sorry, you took me by a bit of surprise there. Lovely night tonight, huh?
I suppose it's not too bad, yes. Are you feeling alright?
Anything interesting in town? Yes, I'm just a bit of a... It's a bit warm, isn't it? As he's just still kind of sweating. I doubt it's very warm. It's the north, so...
Warm, yes. Perhaps we'll have a summer yet.
Anything interesting in the
sure?
market?
And she sort of like shrugs off like her own questioning. Well, I mean, just the market really, but I found a nice little trinket here, and she holds out the stoat, but not really like in a oh my goodness, look at this, just like casually. And I found this here, but kind of eyes him warily.
That's nice. That's wonderful. Perhaps a sign of good things to come, yes?
Perhaps. I suppose we could all use a bit of luck.
Yes,
Would you like a drink? We could go inside.
Let's go inside, yes. Let's go check on the others. I have something to discuss with you all. And he will kind of open the flap of the tent and kind of bid her in.
She'd walk in, probably get settled.
So, I guess Cicero and Devon are inside the tent at this point?
Yep.
We can cut back like a couple of minutes as this is happening to when Devon first walks into the tent.
Just had a very interesting conversation with Captain Hatch.
Oh. What did he say?
Apparently, there is some suspicion as to who I might be. In fact...
Cicero. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
He stiffened up. As long as you're in these gates, no one can know who you are. Suggest...
Though it seems there are
Suggest
some
that,
who do. We should proceed with caution, and we should see the Great John as soon as possible.
Aye. Did he give any inkling as to who knows who you are?
No.
Hopefully we'll be able to find out before we leave.
If it's who I think it
that
is, then I'm glad. Because it means that they know why I'm here.
Then our plan is probably the best for the most covert action then. But aside from this mission, I suggest that Devon be the only one that's seen within these walls.
I don't know that that's the right way to go. There were some conversations had yesterday that were able to ascertain some fascinating information that Devon would not have been able to obtain. Perhaps it's worthwhile to have options open.
It's worthwhile that you're kept safe, but I trust you to know just how far you can go.
And Devon may need a way out. I may need a way out. And I
agree.
believe there's a stable boy who will be required at some point. The horses may need tending to, my lord.
Should see to it that they get the drink then.
Indeed, my lord. Be cautious.
Wise words.
Okay, so we can say at
We
about
are-
this time then. Alright, go ahead.
We are our brothers.
Cicero nods and leans back onto his bedroll.
Yeah. We get around this time. Septim Birch and Kaylee are entering the tent.
Okay, like looks around and there's like a definite like a tense like feeling in the air and God, you could cut the air with a knife in here. Everything all right?
Fine.
Cicero gives a smile and a slight... His eyes drift to the Septon for just a moment. It's just kind of a glance out of the corner of his eyes, just kind of looking him up and down for a minute and then looking back to his bedroll.
Birch walks in, and I think making eye contact with Devrin, you can see his body go a little bit tense as he kind of stares at Devrin before feeling Cicero's eyes on him. He turns and almost just immediately like shifts that body weight back down, trying to appear more natural, and just begins to speak. Oh, young lord, are you awake? Are you? Please, I need everyone to listen to this. Something very fascinating has happened to me this night.
Really? Do tell.
I was flagged down this evening by someone who wanted to speak with me. He gave me a name, but a place like this, people like that, it's hard to believe it has any sincere value. But I'm guessing he flagged me down because he saw me walking with you and the rest of you. But he told me certain things, and one of those things was that these words may hold value to one of us. That we should be on the lookout. Anything can be trouble. Even a small scratch. These words mean anything. To any of you.
I keep my
I've
eyes
never-
straight ahead.
I've never heard words of those. Well, not at least in that order.
And you, young lord, anything?
Cicero kneads his hands together a bit and just feigns. He's kind of feigning thinking of something, trying to recall something at this point. I think it wise that none of us get injured. That's all it means to me.
That's it, then.
It is a
Stranger
tournament.
flags me down to say this. That's it.
There's lots of strange people in the city, you know.
You are so correct, Miss Kaylee.
Perhaps it was a drunkard.
I mean, at this point,
There's a tournament.
that kind of tension is
There are
coming back,
worse
and I'm
things than
looking to
scratches.
Do these
That's
things
it.
mean something to you? Because you seem quite bothered. Your sweat is dripping from your brow.
The day we have just had, how are you not bothered? Cyril's missing. His boy is held captive. The young lord has to go into battle now for his own honor.
Well, the thing is, you see,
Be a bit much.
if we spend our time panicking and running around like chickens with our heads snapped off, we're not going to get anything done, but be panicked. I don't see that really helping us much.
The free spirit and careless nature of youth. All right, then.
You
That's it.
seem
Then.
particularly concerned here. Is there a reason?
Yes. Yes, there's a
What was
reason
that?
we are in hostile lands. The young lord is up against his greatest foe, who wants him dead. In his own turf, where he could kill him and walk away no problem with the Lord Bolton there, to honor it. I'm sorry, I'm not used to such violence. And the Septon, like, very uneasily takes a seat and just kind of looks a little bit overwhelmed and breathing a little bit heavy, but definitely trying to get out of this conversation as soon as he can now, seeing as he reaped no beneficial information from them.
Septon, you should know as well as any of us that all of the houses have ears everywhere and eyes everywhere. We should always exercise caution here.
So what are you to do tomorrow, Cicero? Is it tomorrow when the joust is actually happening? Actually, I should double check that. Is
Yeah,
it-
we've got the first bout with Michael and Cicero has been pushed forward, especially for this the new rules, the new stakes which have entered play. So yeah, pretty much first thing in the morning we have the first joust.
So what are you to do tomorrow then, Cicero? Go in resting on your honor? Are you ready for this?
House McNair doesn't have much honor to rest on as of yet. I intend to make some. That's what I intend to do tomorrow.
Can I do anything to help? Anything?
I think what you've been doing so far has been plenty help. All that I ask is that you keep your truth, your honesty, and your loyalty to the McNair household. That is
We hold
enough.
our home.
Of course. Of course. And he musters the most genuine smile he can.
Alright then. So with the joust on the morrow, is there anything that we would like to do tonight before dawn comes?
Yes. I think tonight is when I've got to go, perform some animal cruelty.
It's just a light bit of animal cruelty. It's all good.
Just a light bit of animal cruelty. I'm sorry, everybody. So, my plan here is to frame the bombings.
Say that again, Jen. You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. My plan here is to frame the Pominghams.
Okay.
So their horses will not be affected.
Gotcha.
Everyone else is.
Okay.
That is my.
Okay. And what specifically is the plan to? What are you going to do to the horses? I guess.
I think it's poisoning the water supply is what we had all agreed on, right?
Okay.
What Cicero and I had talked about?
I think so. Yeah. That is perfectly fine. So you steal away in the night, presumably away from everyone else, and head out towards the stables, watching from the dark corners of the alleys. You can see that the stables up ahead are being watched by two of House Blackwood's guards who are watching the front doors. It would be possible to go around and climb your way up and jump through, just hop the wall and get into the stables. And, of course, you may cause some noise doing this, and they're going to be within earshot pretty much at all times whilst they're on guard. How would you like to approach this?
Let's see. I think there's going to be some. I think I'm going to go back to that flighty disguise I was in last time. The one who talked to Janet. No, to Mallory.
Okay.
And go up and sort of just talk to the guards. Oh, I love horses. They're so beautiful, aren't they?
One of them sort of grunts and is like, yeah, I guess.
I mean, our family has several, but there are so many different types here. There's so many colors.
Yep. That's horses for you.
Take a look around. They're just, I've never seen. They call that one a
Aluminium. Yeah.
Aluminium.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, well, afraid the stables are closed for the night, you see, once it gets late. Don't want to be disturbing the horses. There is a tournament on the morrow.
Oh. Well, but I don't know if we'll be able to come back later.
What's that?
Can I just go and take a look for a minute? Just
You can roll me a persuasion with any bonuses that you might have in charm.
Okay, can I use convince here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. That is 4, 5. So it's going to be 5. Be plus an additional 2. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh wow, those are good rolls.
5, and then I get to add plus 2 on top of that.
Awesome. So, damn, that's a lot. Yeah, the guy kind of looks at you and is like, yeah, maybe I could. He looks towards the other guy, give you a late night tour, round the horses.
That would be wonderful.
Right, you watch the door. And this he's got like a really big beard, like all the way down his chest, and he looks slightly more rotund than the other man and the other guards that you've seen. And he says, "Please step this way, missy." And he goes onto a key ring on his side and unlocks the stables and sort of lets you inside.
Okay. Is he coming in with me, or is he just letting me in?
He's gonna come in with you and
you say about it. Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, there these horses over here, particularly nice. What house did you say you was from again, love?
Oh, and whatever house I ended up, I gave some minor house.
I think actually last time you didn't give them a name, and
I ended up not giving them.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
I didn't give them. So I'd give them a. I'd give them a minor house, but one that kind of has a reputation for having some strong arms in it.
Okay, you could roll me a status check, which is to quickly find the name of a house that would fit this sort of description.
Okay, let's see here. 1, 2. Yeah.
Damn, these rolls, mate. This would be House Perk, and it's Perke. Minor house. You know, they've known a little bit thuggish, I suppose, by reputation.
Okay. Hey, I'm from House Peck. Haven't been out much since I got sick. Nice to be out in the world.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need a, roll in the A. See your horses
that's
all
what
there.
got me sick in the first place. So.
Oh. Well. You seen all the horses now, Lim? Any others you want to...
Oh, I'm just going to look at this one, and I'm going to start, going over and looking and sort of hiding the poison vial in my skirts
Okay.
as I go and do those things.
Yeah. His interest has taken a nosedive.
I'm sorry?
His interests have taken a nosedive, but he's still sort of like keeping an eye on you.
Okay, I'm not going to be shady about it. It's I'm going to be petting it and, with the other hand, pouring it in. Then I will... Let's see here. How do I want to get out of this?
The horses pretty much have individual like troughs.
Yeah.
So you would have to poison a fair amount of them if you wanted to, get all of the horses in here. I mean, there are, like 60 plus horses being held in quite a big stables.
Yeah, I mean, the most important ones is obviously the Blackwoods.
Right.
And anyone who I think there's a chance that they might pull out to fight for them as well.
Okay, so you're probably looking at trying to poison at least like 4 troughs worth of stuff, which is like 2 for the Blackwood house horses and then 2 sort of allies of them. To do this, it is a thievery with sleight of hand check to do so while the guy is sort of keeping an eye on you. But it is a roll per trough. So it's like 4 checks if you wanted to do all of them. Oh boy. Yeah, that's...
So that's the first one?
Yep, you are looking for 10 on the check overall. So you've got 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah.
Okay, second one. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah. Second is a 16. Oh yeah.
Yep. And then the
21, holy shit. I have never seen someone roll so well. Yeah, that is dead on a 10 on the last one as well.
Just
So.
hit it.
So yeah, like a 16, a 15, a 21, and a 10. So you poison these horses' water supplies. Now, most of the horses are sort of like, sleeping or just like sluggishly sort of, awake at this point. It's pretty late. But, they're bound to drink before the morning.
And this should be delayed enough and dirted enough that it's not going to knock them out. They're not going to immediately start dropping. So the idea is that there's... And I hit ours too in that, I'm assuming, because I can't make it look like it's us.
Sure.
The most important is it looks like the Pommingham's horses have been unaffected.
Yep, you're pretty happy with what you've done here. There are a lot of horses that are going to die tonight, including some of your own.
Maybe some will get through it, but just be weakened.
Yeah, you're not confident about that, to be honest. But after about like 10-15 minutes of this, the guys came.
If it means Cicero makes it through the joust, that's what's mattering here.
Okay. So, the guy's like, after 15 minutes of this, he's like, all right, love, time for you to go then.
All right. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Maybe if we're still here, I'll come back tomorrow. Take a look again.
Yeah, maybe. But come during the day, not easier then.
All right. Thank you. And I leave. Immediately, I'm going to go try and blend into crowds, and then I'm going to go change, and I'm going to get rid of those clothes. If I can find a place that I can throw them on a fire, they're gone. Sure. Whatever I can do to get rid of that, any piece of that disguise.
Absolutely. You can throw them down a well, whatever, burn them, yeah.
Lady Perk is gone now.
Yep.
And then I will head back over to Cicero. Or I guess I might go to a bar that I get seen out and about.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably would stay out a little bit longer. And I might even make a bit of a ruckus. I might even be a little too rowdy at the bar before I head home.
Cool. Okay. So by the time you get back, it's probably going to be like deep into the night, the sort of early hours of the morning. Are you going to wake anyone up when you come back in, or just slip in and go to sleep?
I mean, Cicero needs his rest. I can tell him in the morning.
All right. So, and is there anything else?
Unless he's awake or crossing in his sleep or something, then I'll say it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just, while she's doing that, I want to, Cicero brings out the armor that he got on this day, and kind of beckons Kaylee over. You mind taking a look at this for me? Just making sure it's in tip-top shape. Sure, the armors here are great, but I need someone I can trust.
Of course, I don't mind having a look at it. And she sort of moves over and begins to examine the craftsmanship and the work and all the bindings between and everything.
Absolutely.
And just as she looks over it, does she notice anything in particular about the armor or?
Yeah, it's very well crafted. This is one of the finest pieces that you've looked at. Certainly, Sir Donald Lee's exorbitant piece of armor which he's bought for Sir Cicero is definitely worthy to turn away a blade. This is going to save your life, probably multiple times.
Honestly, as sketchy as he seemed buying everything for you, I'm quite surprised at the quality of this. Not that I want to suspect, that such an aloof man would, I suppose perhaps we were all thinking it a bit.
I'm just wondering what he's expecting as a payoff, but no doubt we'll be finding out soon enough.
I think perhaps let's consider your life before thinking about what's going to come after.
I be thankful for what we have and hopefully what we keep.
I do have something you could add to it, though, that might, something for a bit of luck, perhaps. And she pulls the little package that she got at the market, and hey, I found this earlier, just wandering through, and I was surprised, and perhaps maybe you could, have it in one of your inner pockets. And she hands it to him.
Cicero takes it and kind of looks it over. It's very nice. Didn't expect to find something like this here.
I didn't either, but it caught my eye, and perhaps it's something, for luck, Can't have you getting killed in the morning.
I agree with that. He takes it and sticks it in one of his pockets. Well, it has been a day. Should get some rest.
She kind of lingers, in thought for a moment, then... Yeah, we should, yes. Rest. And kind of crawls over to her own bedroll, leaving him at his peace.
Okay, so Devon comes back in.
Are you guys awake or asleep?
Cicero's probably been asleep, but it's possible that he is woken up by the sound of your entrance. Just because he's not sleeping very well in this setting.
I'll look at him and I'll nod.
Cicero just nods back over his shoulder.
I do want to keep the vial of poison because I want to have something to plant on Janus tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, you can have kept the vial.
Yeah. During the tourney. That's something I'm looking for an opportunity to drop on her.
Okay.
Actually, not the vial of poison. That's direct. A swatch of the cloth of the dress. That's okay.
Okay.
Instead.
Yeah. When you threw it away, you could have that.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So presumably then the next morning comes. As you sleeping pretty late, Cicero is probably tired. Maybe you guys have a brief interaction, which you let him know what's happened. Because either way, pretty early at dawn, there is a lot of commotion going around Blackwood Hall. You hear, trumpets going. You hear marching soldiers through the streets. There's a town crier, ringing the bell and informing, everyone of what's gone on. Of course, the news is that there has been foul play at the tourney, and that several of the horses in the stables are dead, including those of House Blackwood. You hear this on the lips of, hundreds of people as they're going past your tent this morning, and things are getting set up. Again, as you guys are getting ready, when you come out of the tent, you'll see that there is a lot of activity and movement up at the keep. And you guys will in fact see a very upset-looking Sir Donald Lee marching his way up to your tent, and he sort of crosses his arms and pouts a little bit and is like, "Dear, my lord Cicero, have you heard the terrible news? This is literally the worst thing that could have ever happened."
I've just caught wind of it. It's very sad indeed. Never wanted something like this to happen. Are your horses all right?
I haven't even checked. I know not. But you know, it's a good thing that I have access to several other horses. Else, you know, what would I do? But that he's my finest stallion.
I hope the best for them. If you are wanting to go over and check, I'd be happy to accompany you.
Aye, we must. If your horse, I mean, you have a joust today, my friend.
Well, I've heard that the Blackwood horses, above all, have been affected. So we'll have to see if the joust is going to happen.
Well, I can't imagine that they'd set something like this back. I mean, but we'll have to see, won't we?
I imagine there will be some kind of do today.
Right, quite well.
Hopefully it
I'll tell you
does.
this much, my friend. If your horse has been harmed, then you may use mine, as long as mine is fine.
Well, I once again appreciate your
insist.
gratitude.
I insist.
Very well.
Goodness.
If there is to be a joust,
Right,
then
Do they know who's responsible?
All I have heard is the terrible, tragic news, the worst news I've heard all year, that several of the horses are poisoned and dead. Some are still dying up there. I mean, what a way to go. I mean, those that were dying have been put out of their misery, but I know not which stallions have been harmed. Whatever rogues
Poison,
did
you
this. Aye, it seems that way. A cowardly weapon. Well, come with us.
Terrible.
And he's marching out to the stables. Anyone that wishes to follow him, let me know. I guess Cicero is definitely going, right?
The Septon will come with because he has a decent amount of healing knowledge and diagnosing knowledge, so he kind of wants to know what exactly happened here.
Yeah. Where are the Palmingham tents in relation to?
Yeah, not far from here. This is like the big kind of tent staging area. So it's almost a bit like being at a festival. All the tents are together, but they're not far from one another.
There's a way to very subtly go and do that drop on the way. I will.
Okay.
Otherwise, I may just have to scrap that and get rid of that evidence.
Okay. Yeah, as you are like heading through the tent staging area to get to the stables, you do see the Palminghams, who are about. I mean, this is it's a very busy environment. People are very upset about this, and still trying to figure out what the damages done were and that kind of thing. So yeah, you will spot that the Palminghams are out and sort of about outside their tent at this point. There's maybe like 10 of them, including entourage and the like.
Okay. Just in the chaos of the crowds, I'll go and I'll do that drop.
Okay. You can roll me a thievery sleight of hand.
Okay.
Let's see. So that is 13?
Yep.
Yeah, 13 overall. Whereabouts are you trying to drop this in particular? Are you trying to drop it on a Palmingham or just sort of nearby?
Just near their stuff. I mean, if there's a way to drop it on one of them, great. But if not, just in the general vicinity.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. You kind of drop it in their camp with some of their stuff. Perfect. So, the rest of the party or you guys head up to the stables Now, outside these stables is Michael Blackwood, Lord Ulrich Blackwood, and Lord Bolton himself, along with like a heavy amount of guards who seem to be like investigating the area. And there's a sort of little cordon off where the peasants aren't going and the like, but everyone's trying to get a view of this. So there's a large crowd trying to figure out what's going on. But there are a lot of guards and important nobles around. Several knights are in this mix as well. And Sir Donald Lee sort of pushes himself through the crowd, is recognized by the other guards, and steps through with you guys with him. And he's like, "What's gone on here, Lord Blackwood? This is honestly the most terrible thing to ever have happened." All of the three nobles sort of roll their eyes as they see Donald Lee coming closer, and Ulrich Blackwood speaks and says, "It seems as though there has been a poisoner, someone who would seek to disrupt this tournament, and killed several of the horses. Fear not, we have several leads, Lord Lee." And Sir Donald is like, "Well, good. Are my horses harmed? Whose horses have been harmed?" Well, that would be our own horses, along with our good friends here," he notes, looking at Cicero, "and several of our closest allies. Yes, I regret to inform you, Lord Cicero, that the McNair horses have been put out of their misery by this poisoner. No doubt this was set to disrupt today's joust. After all, word has been spreading around the town about the joust between yourself and my son Michael here. No doubt there was some disruptive party who seek to delay the decision about the boy's life. But such things do happen." And Donald he clasps his shoulders on Cicero. "My God, can you believe this? Someone trying to delay the tournament? How dishonorable."
Cicero just shakes his head and looks back up to the Lord. I do hope that you find who did it. But I hope that we can have a good, honest show of a tournament whenever we can find a way to resolve this.
Ulrich nods and says, "Yes, well, the matter is being looked into, and as I had mentioned, we do have several promising leads. But in the meantime, our most gracious Lord Bolton has offered the use of his finest stallions for the joust today." And Bolton nods with a whisper of a smile on his face. And Michael grins. "Yes, so, Lord Cicero, I look forward to our joust later today."
Cicero gives a very deep bow. Says, "It'll be an honor. I look forward to it as well."
"Very good." And Donald says, "Well, I'm just glad to hear that my horses have been fine, but let me assure you, Lord Blackwood, Lord Bolton, that Sir Cicero here will have no need for Lord Bolton's stallion, for he will be riding upon mine. There is literally nothing in the world I would like more than for this man to ride my horse." And he claps you again on the shoulder.
Cicero just kind of, for the first time, wraps his arm around his shoulder back and says, a true friend at a tournament is such a great asset. Very happy to have found this one, Donald Lee here. Great man."
Michael sort of sneers at Donald. He doesn't like him at all. "Yes." Donald smiles back at him. "We are the best of friends." "Right, well, as long as the tournament is still on, then Everything's fine. We can calm down. I'm sure this matter will be looked into. We'll find and string up whomsoever dared to poison the horses, my lord. Such dishonor upon your grace's halls. We must go and prepare for the joust. Cicero.
Aye, yes, if you'll excuse me, lords. Very purposefully bows to Lord Blackwood and Lord Bolton and omits Michael.
The rest of you guys going with Sir Donald and Cicero as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere by himself.
Yeah.
Okay, so Donald takes you back to the sort of training areas, and he's like, right, we have about 2 hours, Lord Cicero, before this joust begins. So, how would you like to spend that time?
Well, I should like to meet the horse that I'm riding.
Oh,
and I'll have to get comfortable in my armor as well.
Yeah, Donald will go and find bring his horse with him for you, so that you can get used to it a little bit. And probably Kaylee and the others can help you don your armor. It takes like 10 minutes to put on this thing, if you have the assistance of someone else. So 30 minutes or so of getting everything ready. What would you like to do? You got like an hour and a half before the big fight.
All right. Boy, oh boy. I think Cicero is going to want to run some just warm-up rounds of testing out the lance and trying to do a little bit better, at least, than what he did yesterday. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, this is... Here we go.
We'll say that Cicero is here for this last round of training, and if he and Sir Donald Lee get ready to instruct you upon this, it's really only. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Woo. It's really only about an hour that you have. The last 30 minutes are getting into like the stalls. And getting to like the tournament grounds itself, which are held just outside the halls and off from the training areas, where there is a steady flood of peasants who are heading out to the arena grounds. It is one of the the busiest events that you will have witnessed before, as thousands of peasants and people from all over the land attend to watch the first bout of 64 knights, single elimination basically, on the first day of the tournament. As you get to the grounds, I'll share you the first map here, which is just our joust. Thank you, Architect, for that. I will get that in just a second, my friend. But this is basically what the tourney grounds, what a joust would look like. Very simple. Little jousting map here. So there are obviously stalls on either side to view from, while the lords and ladies have like the best viewing boxes. I realized I've got 2 Josephs on my screen. That's weird. Don't worry about that, everybody. About to be fixed, like a Bob Ross.
Now there's
Happy
2 birds.
trees.
There she is. So you've got obviously the jousting fence down the middle, the viewing boxes, and then the spectator stands and stalls on either side. Knights joust down the center until one of them falls off, or one of them gives in. So you are on the northern side, is where you guys are stationed, basically, and this is where they're going to put you. So Michael Blackwood is, of course, lining up on the southern side as the bout begins in a few minutes' time. You see him, fully geared up in his armor, on a dark stallion. He looks very confident even from this distance. He really wants this one can tell. The stalls of stands are like excited football fans. And you guys are there as Cicero is sort of mounted onto the horse, and Sir Donald Lee is with the group of you as well. Right, how are you feeling? I am feeling excellent.
Cicero, visibly nervous, is just nods and says, "I'm ready. Let's get this over with."
Excellent. Go ahead, Septon Budge.
Yeah, there's a moment where Septon could hopefully just... Oh, Donald, could you, Seems that woman over there in the crowd is calling our way. Does she recognize you? Could you go check on her real quick? Just trying to get Donald away from us for like 30 seconds.
Absolutely. He goes and
literally the nicest thing you've done for me since...
He turns towards the crowd of people. Like, does someone know me? And he sort of starts breathing in adoration. The crowd cheers at him. You know, like Donald Lee is quite the heartthrob at the moment.
Birch will lean in close to Cicero, just close to the horse he's already mounted on, and just say, "Now, my lord, I will be here in case there are any injuries, anything you need treated right away. I have my kit with me, everything a maester's kit should have, even fire milk. I don't mean to distract you, but I don't know if you know how fire milk works. You see, it gets in and cleanses the wounds. It tends to weaken the body physically, but it takes care of things very quickly and leaves the system even quicker. And the best part of all is you just need a bit in a wound, just a tiny scratch. I don't know if this is something that would interest you in our current predicament." And he kind of looks to the tip of the, why am I blanking on this word right now? The item used to joust with. Yes, thank you. Be a shame if there was some passing blow that hit Michael, but... And just kind of leaves it open in the air to see if Cicero wants to go that direction with this, or if he truly wants to maintain his honorable standards.
Septon, it's already a time of suspicion. One should be cautious.
Yes, one should be cautious, not to arise suspicion among this group.
Isn't this sort of a strange thing for a Septum to suggest?
Indeed.
It definitely is dishonorable.
It's dishonorable. Yo, like you saw him last night sweating bullets, assumingly like afraid that if they lose here, his meal ticket is gone. Like he is no longer safe anywhere. So he kind of needs Cicero to win this.
This may also play into your idea of what Septons are anyway. You know, like they follow the bad gods. Maybe this is just what they do.
Also, I was hoping to use the scratch word because I still don't know if Cicero actually had any relation to that saying. So I was hoping to see if I could get some other information out of that, if that raised his eyes or anything. But hey, it was just an offer.
How does Cicero react? No.
Yeah, you don't necessarily get too much of a reaction out of him. He's pretty stone-faced through this whole proposal. But he just picks up his shield and puts his left arm through it, takes the lance. If I should get any scratches, Septon, I'll be needing your medical attention.
Good to hear, my lord.
Kaylee steps up and reaches up and squeezes him on the arm. "Don't get yourself killed, please." And smiles at him.
I should hope not to. If I die, it's not just my life that's getting taken.
Well, then let's just only think about your life not being taken and you staying here once you get back from that fight. Yes?
It's a good way to think. try and keep my head in that place. Thank you, Kaylee.
And she nods and sort of like goes to step away.
Yeah, Sir Donald comes back, and at this point he sort of claps your thigh as you're up on the horse and is like, I believe that you are the most ready, Lord Cicero. I just went and spoke with a lady there. She did know me, and she wished you the best of luck, and I told her that you are to perhaps give out your favor before the joust. It is a sign of good luck, so take this. And he goes into his pocket, and he brings out a handkerchief. You get the feeling he's got a fair amount of these in his pocket, like quite a floral one. And he ties it around the tip of your lance, and is like, you should give this unto a lady. It is good luck.
Very well. I'm sure that one with your repertoire of knowledge about tournaments is surely trustworthy on this subject. I'll see who I can find. And he starts immediately kind of scanning the crowd for one. Oh, I have to find her name.
One NPC. Name check.
Lady Janice Boatwright. There we go.
Ah, Miss Boatwright. You're betrothed, kind of. Yeah, she is most certainly in attendance. She is in one of the viewing boxes on the eastern side. As you doth tip your lance to give her this favor, she ties around it her sort of like a neckerchief type deal as a trade of good luck, basically. So she takes yours and gives you something for good luck as well. And she says, "Good fortune to you, Lord McNair."
I thank you very kindly, my lady.
You see at this point that Michael is sort of riding over with his, same sort of gift. He eyes you, says, "Ah, McNair, so you did turn up then. I was wondering whether or not you would."
Well, that would have been a lot easier for you, but we have to give the people what they want.
True enough. And he says, "Lady Boatwright!" And she sort of blushes a little bit. And he's like, "Would you accept this as well? Perhaps it'll even things out." And she's, "Of course, my lord." And ties another favor around his and takes his in return. He glares at you and says, "Best of luck, McNair. You'll need it."
To you as well.
He turns, rides back, and he is in the south. And you are in the north. You ride back, and Sir Donald is like, "Right, now things are about to get started, so..." Oh, my goodness. You don't have an announcer.
Kind gesture.
Who's going to announce you? Wait a minute. I can. It would literally be the biggest honor that I have ever been granted, my lord, to introduce you to the stadium.
Cicero nods to him and says, "Very well then, you may announce me, Sir Donald."
Thank you. And thank you, Denny, for the 2 critical successes for myself and Sir Michael. But yes, Sir Donald Lee kind of steps up, and the crowd goes to something of a hush. On the opposite side of the stalls, there is a similar sort of herald or announcer for the Boltons, who says, "My lords, Boltons, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is my greatest honor and pleasure to introduce to you Lord Michael Blackwood, and the crowd goes wild. Michael lifts his lance up and kind of shuts the visor on his helmet as the crowd cheers. Sir Donald wipes a bead of sweat and from his brow as he gets quietly the applause and says, "My lords and ladies, Lord Bolton and everyone else in the crowds!" And the crowd goes wild for Sir Donald as he sort of stands for a moment and waits. "I know you! Aha! I met her a minute ago. I am here to introduce literally the best knight that you have ever seen in your entire lives. He is the beast from the east, the disaster from thereafter, and he is the terror of the north. He is Lord Cicero McNair." And the crowd goes wild for Sir Donald Lee's confusing but nonetheless rousing speech, as there's cries of adulation. There's a little bit of confusion. I don't exactly know who you are necessarily, a lot of these people, but they're certainly excited to see Sir Donald Lee. As it happens, the trumpet blows and the flags are lowered. Michael, from across the tournament grounds, looks dead set at you. And as the trumpet blast goes off, the horses kick into action. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, because this is our joust. So, let's get us going here. So we start things off with Lord Cicero McNair and Lord Michael Blackwood looking out across each other as the horses kick into gear. So the first thing that we do is, of course, we choose a stance. The stances are aggressive, braced, defensive, eyes fixed, and high in the saddle. Cicero, what stance would you like to take?
For the first one here, I'm going to go with the brace.
Okay. So, bout 1 begins into the braced position, which blunts your own attack. You subtract 1 or 2 from the result of your fighting test, and you add the same amount to the result of your animal handling test to remain in the saddle if you are struck. And 3 wild magic searches for Michael here. Thank you, Pokey. I appreciate that. So, first things first, we make our fighting tests. We take away 1 die from your fighting score. So, let me check what your fighting score is. Your fighting is 4, so you roll -1, 3 dice. And you choose the maneuver. So whatever result is, you subtract 1 or 2, depending on how much you want to do that, away from your fighting test. So roll me 3 d6s. Alrighty. Hey! That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. So, yes, 16, alright. Now, I'm going to roll these wild magic surges here for Michael, because I feel like they may affect things. I
hope they do.
Alrighty.
Offering.
Holy moly, and thank you too. Let me see. Twitter of Vecna, £30, 5 magic items to our honorable jouster. Oh, dude, that's fucking awesome. Thanks so much. So, let's see, magic items in Game of Thrones are interesting in the sense that there isn't really true magic. However, there is like really good items, which are basically what magic items are in this system. So what we're going to do is say that this armor, which Sir Donald Lee gifted unto you, has the bonus property. And actually, I'm going to go see what really good equipment does here in just a second for you. But I'll get to that in a moment. Let me look up these wild magics for Mikey here. Yeah, in before he's like amazingly good. So 7983. Oh, sorry, 1798, bro. Michael thinks that some item he is carrying is about to explode. Oh,
Good.
Perfect.
That's interesting. That could be a good or a bad thing. Anyone that Michael slays becomes invisible upon death. They just fucking disintegrate. That's badass as fuck. It's like he never existed. And last but not least, if he's hit by a bludgeon on a natural 20, Michael gains a new language. If he's hit on the head really well, he just remembers all these languages suddenly. Okay, so he thinks something is about to explode. Wow. Okay. So, would you like to subtract 1 or 2 from your fighting test, Cicero?
Let me subtract. Let's just do the 1. Subtract 1.
Okay. Okay, so subtract 1, so your overall score is a 15. So let's make a note of that. Your fighting score, or your fighting test is a 15. Boom. I get to roll 3, but he has 2 in spears, which are bonus die. So we're gonna take away the 2 lowest. That's pretty good for you. So the 2 lowest makes that a 15 as well. He's striking the aggressive posture with a +1. So he's going in for a 16. This is all fine. So, and remember we have plenty of bouts, plenty of rounds, so I'm going to use Michael's 20s here in a minute. So, the score that you were looking to hit is his passive riding skill. His ride is, let's see, animal handling plus ride, rather, is 4 times 3, so 12. So you're looking to hit a 12, basically. And he was looking to hit a 12 as well. So both of you hit one another, is what's happened here. So we now look at the jousting results table, which is fun. So the result of fighting tests in the joust determines the outcome, as determined by this table. A tourney lance inflicts all this damage multiplied by terrible things, depending on how this goes. So, as you hit one another, your test result is you rolled, what, a 16? And your fighting score is 4. So you hit, 3 degrees of success? Holy moly, that's pretty good. But so does he. So the lance strikes the opponent, and this happens for both of you as you hit simultaneously. The opponent takes damage and must succeed on a hard DC 15 animal handling test or be unhorsed. Luckily for you, because you took the brace position, you add +1 to your animal handling test to remain in the saddle. So while the both of you hit, it is you who has the slight advantage on remaining in your saddle at this point. So it's animal handling rolls with any bonuses that you have in ride, and you have a 1 bonus in ride. So you roll 4 dice and you subtract the lowest, and then you add 1.
Yes, and just for the sake of safety, I'm going to use one of my 20s on this.
I like that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, on one of my nats.
Yep.
All right.
So that's automatically a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. Oh.
So that's 4. Take out the lowest one. So take out the 3.
All right.
So that's all 6s.
That's all
plus
6s. Yeah, you are most certainly remaining in the saddle. I know you had a +1 to it, so yeah, you're certainly remaining in the saddle. However, you do take damage from this, so that is worth noting. So you will be taking 10 points of damage. You reduce this by your armor. We go find what your armor is, and this is where I'll bring in that bonus hefty bonus from our good friend Tweeter of Vecna. Yes, armor is page 131. And you're going to be wearing, what's it in this game? Plates? Yeah, plate mail. Woo. Let's take a look at this bad boy. Bum 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 bum. Let's see what this says. Plate. A full suit of armor. Includes a helmet, cuirass, gorget, pauldrons, spaulders, van braces, gauntlets, greaves, sabatons. Holy moly. Alright, where's the table for how much armor this gives you? Let's see. I don't even know. It gives you a lot, though. That much I remember. From from having played this game before.
That's all we need, right? We can just say it's a little tap
good.
on the shoulder and he's good.
Just a little tap. Just a little love tap and you're set. Alright, I'm gonna need a minute to look this up, it looks like. I see lots of places where it says armor. It's just descriptions of what armor is. That's less than useful. If anyone has this game at home and actually knows the rules, unlike me, please feel free to let me know. I'm looking at barding now.
I can
that's not right. Poisons! Oh, maybe it's actually in the combat section. Maybe let's just... Prices. I'm feeling that it might be. This has been a long time since I've really played this game, but I seem to remember that they put it in an annoying place. Which is like actually in the combat section when they're trying to work out... Yes. Combat defense? Here's one I should have read earlier. Well, I don't find it. I can't find it right now. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know where armor is in this game. Or what it does. I'm pretty sure it just adds to your combat defense. However, I'm struggling to find where it says combat defense. Aha! Aha!
Yeah, combat defense is agility plus athletics plus awareness plus defense bonus minus armor penalty.
Okay, now this is annoying because it's not actually in the armor chapter. It's actually in the combat chapter underneath a table in the armor section. Okay, so you're wearing full plate, which means that your armor rating is 10. So you're good. Which means that you are absorbed. You absorb this blow, basically. Now we need to work out what damage you did to him. I'm pretty sure it is around the same as well. Now I need to find the chapter that I just left, which is super handy. Well, I went on my long and ultimately rather fruitless quest to find the previous one. Tournaments, jousting, boom, there we go. So, animal handling +3 is base damage. Your animal handling is 3? Yeah. So 6. +3 for the lance is 9. Plus whatever you have in strength, which I think is nothing. +2 for the charge maneuver, which is 11. So I was mistaken. You actually take 1 damage, and Michael, similarly as well, takes a point of damage, as he is going to spend 2 of his crits to stay on his horse. So, now that I've found all the rules, basically what happens is the 2 of you pass by one another and get pretty solid good hits in, but the armor is enough to turn away the lances. You are both struck, and you both... well, you're now down the south, and Michael is up the north. As the 2 lances pass, the crowd goes, soaringly kind of crazy. The 2 of you guys strike one another, but no one is unhorsed. You were pretty certain you were close to getting him, though. That was the best you've ever, you ever jousted before, most likely. So, between passes, you can take a breath, which is to remove a wound. If you would like to, take a minute to heal up. Bear in mind that throughout this competition, you're only allowed to heal up once and to take a breath once. So you may wish to use it later if you're thinking that you may get hit a couple of more times.
Yeah, we're good for now.
Okay. Yeah, so Donald sort of rushes up and slaps you on the thigh. That was marvelously jousted. Fantastic. Well, I hope you've got more where that came from. Give him a good run for his money, what? Oh, and of course the boy's life depends on it, so, there's that.
Yeah, Cicero doesn't really say much. His jaw is clenched, and he is already looking back at Michael.
Yeah.
as the adrenaline really starts to kick in, and he's ready to get this guy off his horse.
Absolutely. The horses turn around and the trumpet blares once again. The second flag is lowered, and it is time to joust. What pose would you like to take, my friend?
Let's stick with a brace.
Okay.
For this one, I'm going to use 2 of those at 20s.
Ooh, very nice. Wild magic for Michael's horse. Ooh, that's tasty. So roll me that fighting test, my friend.
Alrighty.
Now look at what happens to this horse as it charges out. Oh my god, this is hilarious! The wild magic surge is that the horse is suddenly sitting atop someone else's horse.
What?
Excuse me, I would like a horse for my horse. My horse is tired. I need a horse to ride on.
This is not how jousting works.
So the poison hit that one too, huh? You heard it out?
Horse, you're drunk, go home. Okay, we'll get to that in just a second about what that means. So you subtract 1 or 2 from this result. What would you like it to be?
It's going to be 1 again.
Okay. So 1, so that takes it to 7.
Well, I used 2 of the.
Oh, you used 2 of the crits, yeah, of course. So 2 of those rolls are just 6s. So we'll just take the first roll. So 14,
Gotcha.
-1 down to 13. Okay, so let me just update that. Beautiful. Michael then gets his rolls. Oh, boom. And that is -1 for that. It's only 9. However, he does get a +2 to that, thanks to his aggressive posture. So he is looking for 11. However, your passive animal handling. Let's see, does it include ride? Let's check. Yes, ride specialty does apply. So actually, because you have ride, he is going to fluff the hit only by 1. Mind the joust, the lance is going just past your shoulder, which means that you get the hit in, and on a 14 with a fighting of 4, that is 3 degrees of success. Once again, he's going to need to make an animal handling check. And he's all out of critties. So let's see if he can even do this. That is not going to do it. You'll watch as you strike your lance, as you brace the lance into position. You strike your lance dead center into Michael Blackwood, as his body is forcibly propelled backwards and off of his horse. He takes a not insignificant amount of damage as he does so. He is on a horse. His horse, however, in a panic, runs into another horse, which is, just being stabled down to the south, and both of the horses sort of collapse into one another as it's unable to stop itself without any kind of control. The horse is panicking, goes wild, and the horse finds itself on top of another horse in just a sprawl of limbs and broken legs and more animal cruelty. Michael is thrown backwards. The crowd goes wild, and Sir Donald Lee just runs over towards you. And he is, just like uplifting your arms. He is the champion! He is! Yes! Sir Cicero McNair! And he calls over the rest. Come on! Everett, Captain Birch! Kaylee! Let's go wild! And then Donald is just like fucking going for it, he's like, it's like he's at a rave right now. He's really enjoying this.
Cicero, well, after Sir Donald is done enjoying himself, walks back over to Lady Boatwright and offers her back her favor, and lifts his visor up. He says, "I'll be needing the other one back. It was lent to me by a friend." It's very flatly.
As you, as she's like looking down at you, you hear from behind you the ragged sort of gasping breaths of Michael as he's been sort of left in the dirt and he's picking himself back up. There's a shard of your lance which is in his, embedded in his breastplate, basically, and he's like, "Stop right there! Look at there! This isn't over yet!" And he draws his sword.
Cicero throws his lance to the dirt, draws his sword as well, and makes a very grand speech of this and just says, "I believe that the terms of our condition were the first one to get knocked off their horse loses their right to decide what happens to the boy. And as I see it," he levels his sword at Sir Michael's throat, "you're not on a horse."
He looks at you and there's just like hatred. But the crowd, the crowd sort of stop their cheering for a second. It's kind of like there's that murmured "ooh," as a sword is drawn upon the tawny field, and Michael sort of stands to his full height and says, "Screw that! If you want him alive, come face me." And he lunges towards you.
Boy, oh boy.
He wants it bad. How do you react? You're still mounted at this point, I assume.
Yeah, Cicero is going to do his best to guide the horse out of the way of Sir Michael's lunge, and if he can get any words in over the course of trying to do this, he is going to shout over to Lord Bolton and just make a complete display of being, disgracing Sir Michael's honor, saying this is not the right thing to do. I was like,
Okay.
"Are you going to allow this in front of?" Yeah, that's not all of
All
that
right.
stuff.
The first thing to do, however, is to roll initiative, which is an agility
Yeah.
test with any bonuses with quickness. If anyone else in the party here would like to get involved in some way, then feel free to roll initiative as well. Else, otherwise, let me know what you're doing. I'll check in at each round and see what you guys
Does
are.
even yelling stuff out count as being involved, or is it just physically
No,
involved
no.
here?
Yeah, if you wish to take an action, then roll initiative. If you're not doing anything for now, you don't need to.
Okay.
So that's 18.
Nice. Okay. 18 on the initiative. Anyone else rolling here? Just. GM rolls off. You got a 17, so he's after you.
Not yet.
Actually, because we're in plate mail, it's reduced by 6 our rolls because we're really slow. So it's something like a 12 and an 11. And the bulk penalty is 6 on initiative.
That works.
Yep. Devon, sounds like you're thinking about getting involved here.
Yeah, I am thinking about getting involved. We are in front of the entire tourney is here, right?
Certainly.
This is all in front of everyone.
This is in front of all the lords and ladies of the north of Westeros who have turned up.
I am standing by then because he has just shown how dishonorable he is.
Okay.
So the roll is... I'm sorry, what's the roll here for initiative roll?
It's agility with any bonuses to quickness that you have.
Okay, I just have...
So, Just 8?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
flat for me.
No worries. Alright, so everyone only 8. So, Cicero, you are the first to act. Combat works, and we'll use this as like a combat training simulator here somewhat, as this is the first time we've done it, but combat works similarly to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. You roll initiative, you each take turns, and on your turns you get to take actions. You can either take a standard action, a lesser action rather, which is like a standard attack, or you can use a greater action, which is things like when you're on a mount, so a mounted attack is a greater action, or a divided attack if you wish to attack 2 opponents you're fighting with, that would be a greater action. But basically anything you can think of that you'd want to do, you can do, and you roll dice and to determine the outcome similarly to D&D 5e. So what is Cicero doing at this point, if he's engaged in combat, or if he is just using this chance to call out to the lords and ladies?
Cicero, to the best of his ability, is staying on his horse and just blocking the attacks that are coming at him and making that speech to the crowd that's assembled in front of him. If they don't do anything, he will put more effort into the duel, but this is the first round, I imagine. It's hard to gauge reaction at this point.
Okay. So, you could roll me a couple of things you could roll me. You could roll me a status with bonuses on reputation, or you could roll me a persuasion with bonuses on charm. The status would be, like, hey, I'm a fucking lord, you're not allowed to do this. The charm would more be, this is unlawful.
It's gonna be the same for me, so I will roll them up. And I'll use one of my 20s on this as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of those is a 6, and we'll take the top 2 then. So 7 plus 6 is 13 on the persuasion check, which is pretty damn good. Give me a sample of what Cicero is saying.
All right, so he turns to the crowd, kind of letting Michael blindly follow him with his sword. Ladies and gentlemen, lords and ladies, you see this presentation here of dishonorable act in the first joust of a tournament. Shouldn't be allowed. We had previously agreed upon terms, and he has failed to come to accord with them.
Okay. At this point, Michael lunges towards you with his longsword. So, he gets to roll attack rolls. So, in this game, there are degrees of success, which is one of the main differences between D&D and this game. A degree of success is beating the DC by 5 or more. 1 degree of success 5, 2 degree of success is 10. So, if the DC he was looking for, your combat defense was, let's say, 10, and he rolled a 15, he gets 1 degree of success. He's going to roll some dice. Yay. And he's going to take away the top one of this. Oh man, that is a nasty hit. 8 plus 13 plus 19. So, first thing that we do is reduce your armor from this. Your armor rating is 10. In fact, the first thing we do is figure out your combat defense, which is your agility plus athletics plus awareness plus defensive bonus minus armor penalty. The armor penalty is something like 6. I think, it's 6. So your combat defense is something like 7, which is basically your AC. Like, how easy is it to just strike a blow on you? Pretty damn easy because you're really slow in this armor. However, the armor is really good, and so it turns away 10 points of damage. So, first thing which happens here, he lunges at you with the sword, and it is a damn fine hit. A 19, and he was trying to beat like a 7. So, he is going to deal... 5 times 3. 15 points of damage to you. It's turned away. 10 of that is turned away by your armor. So you take 5 wounds. And what happens here basically is he runs his sword up to like a gap in your your thigh where he can easily reach in the armor, and he just like stabs you through there, and his sword comes away bloody and crimson. All right, that is his turn, which takes it to Devron's turn on initiative. If you would like to do anything, Devron.
I would. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. Devron, from the stands, is going to run forward as much as I can to where I can be most visible, which is not my favorite place to be, and call out, "You have all seen him violate guest right. This is not the first time." And you notice Devron's using a very different voice than anyone's ever heard before here. My name is Valian McNair. Michael Blackwood held me captive for 2 years. He tortured me. And now you see what kind of man he is. Stop him. Now.
All right, you can roll me a status check with any bonus in reputation.
Okay. I have no reputation. So.
Okay. Oh man, Cicero, are you on like 1 health right now then?
Oh, I need my other ones.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Okay. Yeah.
So 10 on status there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is a standard success, no degrees of success, no degrees of failure. So you call out once again, sort of standing up, and you recognize that a few lords and ladies sort of pointing at you, and you hear a couple of, I know her! That is Lady McNair! People are starting to recognize you, and you can indeed see that there are guards moving into the scene pretty swiftly, moving towards Cicero and Michael Blackwood. Something that I will note for you, Cicero, and just for all of us moving forwards, is another difference between this game and D&D is that instead of taking the wounds, or the damage rather, I should say, you can decide to take instead injuries or wounds. So I'll read this to you. So an injury is a minor, rarely fatal wound. Anytime you take damage, you can accept an injury to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to your endurance rank, which is -2 in your case, Cicero. Each injury you accept imposes a -1 penalty to the results of all of your tests. However, you cannot accept more injuries than your endurance rank. So if your endurance rank is 3, instead of taking this damage, you could say, actually, I'm going to take an injury, -1 on all of my tests that you take while you have this injury. But you reduce the amount by 3, and you can have up to 3 injuries at any time. So you could actually not lose any health, but you'd be at -3 to all of your checks, which means that you're not going to succeed at anything, probably, but you're going to survive. The second thing that you do is wounds. So instead of an injury, you can decide to take a wound, which is more deadly. And this is a -1 dice from all of your tests. So rather than rolling 3 dice on an endurance check, you roll 2 dice. And again, you can take as many of those as up to your endurance rank. So you could have 3 injuries, 3 wounds at any given time, and still be up on your feet. However, you are effectively, in terms of the game, absolutely useless. But you are still alive. So that's the game's way of balancing out, just not instantly dying. And pretty much only characters can take wounds and injuries. Maybe major NPCs and villains could take a wound or an injury. But yeah. So, Cicero, if you'd like to take a wound or an injury, let me know if you'd rather not take that 5 damage to your health there.
So if I did take an injury, this would, it would just leave me
You'd reduce it by
incapable
1.
of doing anything.
Sorry, yeah, you'd reduce it by 2, but you'd be at a -1 penalty on all of your checks.
I'll do that.
Okay, take an injury. Take 4 points of damage overall, I think. Sorry, 3 points of damage overall. And you are still standing. However, you have a -1 penalty through results of all of your tests. Yes, and Will there in chat is right. If you take a number of wounds equal to your endurance rank, you die. So there's only so much you can really take. So that is Devrin's turn. Go back up to the top of the round in a second here, but I want to go to Septon Birch and Kaylee. At this point, would you guys like to be doing anything?
Yeah. So Kaylee's going to enter. I think that she's going to probably almost in like a state of just like a panic, but like a controlled sort of panic, come in, and she's going to try and call to the Michael, kind of like to distract him from, especially after like the blood that came off that sort of distract him from the situation, kind of try to put herself between that, as well as calling to Birch to come to Cicero.
Okay.
So do I need to roll in or anything?
Yeah, I actually think there is a check that you can do here, which is like throwing dirt in someone's face, basically. I think is how they describe it, which sounds similar to what you're trying to do here.
This game has a pocket sand mechanic. That makes me very happy.
I'm pretty sure it actually. You know what? We'll actually call this an assist. So you're actually assisting Cicero here. You can assist when another ally would test an ability. You've got to be adjacent to them, blah, 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 blah. You grant the ally a bonus to his next test result with a particular ability equal to 1/2 your rank in the ability you're testing. Okay. So would you like to help him out in, like, fighting here? Presumably that's the one that's actually going to be helpful, is fighting. So you, what's your fighting score? Kaylee has a 3 in fighting, so rounded down to 1. The next roll that Cicero gets will have a +1 to his next fighting test, which I guess cancels out his injury for the sake of his next roll. So you can like distract Michael enough where he glances over towards you in his bloodlust to give Cicero, a moment's time to recover from, the reeling blow. Septon Birch, what about you?
So Bolton, has he had any response to this? Is he sitting there just like stoically still watching this all?
Oh yeah,
just watching. All right.
Bolton watches on.
So Birch will kind of whisper to himself, "What the hell?" Devrin's revelation. Get called into attention via Kaylee, and then start running forward with his Maester's kit. But as he's hobbling his way forward, he will call out to Lord Bolton, just yelling at the top of his lungs as loud as he can, trying to get to Cicero so he can eventually heal him when stuff settles down. But he will just call out, Lord Bolton, trial by combat has commenced and must be honored, and doing so, I will let King's Landing know of your absolute authority and respect for the laws of the land. And he is basically trying to sway Bolton by saying he will write back to the Great Sept, and that will report to King's Landing and Robert and everything that Roose Bolton was a fair and honorable man during all of this.
I love it.
I can totally roll deception if you would like me to do that, or convince,
I think whatever you choose there is fine. A deception, a persuasion, or a status would work. Whichever you feel is strongest.
Is bluff cool too? Because I'm totally talking out of my ass.
Yeah, you're bluffing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So, I have. Let me know if I do this wrong. I have 4 in deception, so that's 4 die already. My
Correct.
bluff is 3, so it's an extra 3 die. All right. Cool.
3 bonus dice. So basically, you take away the 3 lowest.
Right. Okay. So, 76. And also, my trait I took, I think it's called, or benefit I took was treacherous. So I add the number of equal to cunning ranks to all deception tests. So this is going to be +3 at the end. Septon Birch likes to lie. So let's see. 1, 2, so that'll be 1922 total, yelling out to Lord Bolton.
Amazing. As you call out to Lord Bolton, like he looks at you, for the first time, really, and his steely gaze looks upon you. He hasn't moved throughout this whole encounter as Cicero has, is almost unhorsed with Michael's blade digging deep into the flesh, and for the first time, Bolton just like holds up a finger, basically just holds up a finger. And there is silence falls across the lords and ladies and across the assembled crowd. At this point, the guards, Bolton's guards, have rushed up to surround Michael and Cicero and are clearly close enough to intervene. They stop as he raises the finger. And Bolton stands up from his seat, speaks and says, "I will uphold the terms of this honorable trial by combat, but it must be done in the proper circumstances. This evening, Lord McNair and Lord Blackwood, we will settle this disagreement properly." And Blackwood is basically held back by two guards as Bolton sits back down again, and he is like forcibly pulled away, and Cicero, you're pretty much forcibly pulled the other way as well, as the two of you are parted, and the next round of knights are ready to joust to distract the rest of the crowd basically after this unusual disturbance. Sir Donald and the rest of your team are sort of pulled away, sort of by, I guess, the north west point, just north of the stands around here. Those seem to be the terms that Bolton has agreed to. More importantly, though, most pressingly, Sir Donald is like, "Someone help our lord here. He's bleeding profusely."
Septon Birch gets the Maester's kit out, and I'll do a healing treat injury check, if that sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. There. And my treat injury is 4, so that would be 15 total.
Nice. So I think that heals for 1 every degree of success. Let's look up healing. Of course, I closed my book the moment that I think I need it. Do you know the healing rules on this, Bird, or should I look this up?
I'm frantically searching through the PDF to find them.
Yeah, it's all good. I know he heals at least 1, right? What are the rest of you guys doing as Septon Birch is healing?
I'm running to my brother.
Okay.
Kaylee, the same. I'll just like...
Cicero hopefully is being healed.
Yes. Okay, this...
Septon Birch is just stabbing you more. I think this is how I don't...
Okay, so this
Rub
has
some
to
dirt on
take you... So basically, here's what happens. You've got an injury, that's fine, but you have taken some damage. It takes 4 hours of healing per day to get like a healing roll. So Septon Birch is going to need to be working on you for up to 4 hours. However, he gets to make the roll rather than you. So if you are going 4 hours untreated, then you yourself could make the check, but you're going to be way worse than Septon Birch. Successful test removes 1 wound. You may remove an additional wound for every 2 degrees of success. However, if you roll a critical failure, you gain another. That's great.
So I would be stabbing you at that point.
Right, pretty much. So you are going to heal a fairly significant amount. That's probably at least 2 degrees of successes. So you're probably going to heal for about 3 and back up to 4, but that's going to take 4 hours. So by the time that the evening has come, pretty much. So yeah, Septon Birch says to healing him, you guys are like taken away to a private tent, which Cicero's probably thrown upon the table, and you're given some privacy, aside from Sir Donald Lee, who's with you guys. That was the most dishonorable thing I've ever witnessed. Cicero, how are you feeling?
Yeah. His breath is very shaky, very pale from loss of blood, and looks up at the Septon as he's attending to his wound. Guess I got a pretty good scratch then. There's a bit of humor in his voice, but also a significant amount of bitterness in it.
Birch just kind of looks at you and kind of feigns a little smile and, yes, Lord, yes. And then goes right back to focusing, because you are pretty messed up, and he's going to try to heal you best as he can. So he's very focused on just getting you set right by tonight.
You know, I have half a mind to suggest that you demand trial by 7. I will stand by your side against this villainous fellow.
Trial by 7 isn't going to solve this. Michael wants me. Me alone.
Yes. But I could stand by your side and fight this man. He has no honor in him, clearly. I must teach him a lesson. I will respect your wishes if you wish to face him head on. Oh, I fear for my friend. He has struck you a mighty blow.
Just have to make sure I hit him harder. And Cicero, his head kind of lolls back as he's floating in and out of consciousness at this point.
He looks at Devon and Birch and Kaylee, and he's like, "Can't you talk some sense into him?"
Perhaps now isn't the time to try and just talk sense of this. Perhaps we should focus on letting the Septon work. And Kaylee steps, like, she looks briefly like at Devon, kind of like in a shock of what she heard, but at the same time, like, the current situation is kind of like taking away from that, and steps towards Cicero, sort of, and watching the Septon work.
Also, Donald is like in somewhat disbelief when he looks towards Devon. Are you actually his sister? You're a man.
I am.
You are a man, or you are his sister?
No, I am his sister. I am his sister. My name is Valian.
And then this accusation about Michael and this torture and whatnot, that's true as well?
Yes.
I literally don't know what to say. But I will say this. We need to do something.
We absolutely do.
He sits back down, clearly stumped about what that thing might be.
The Blackwoods harm another McNair ever again.
Healing Cicero here, does it seem like he's going to be in any fighting condition by tonight for this supposed trial by combat, or is he like busted? Probably
something that you would probably notice about Cicero is that his endurance rank is pretty low. He has 6 health, meaning mechanically he's pretty easy to kill. Which in result of what this looks like to your character is that this wound, like, he barely survived. You know, like that was something that was, if he had taken another hit, he probably would die. Or at least be taking a significant amount of wounds to the point where he would be incapacitated for a long time. He got away fairly, easily this time around, with only the injury and some damage. But he is at 50% health right now, which means that he's bleeding a fair amount, and he has an injury on his leg, which makes it hard for him to do basically everything in combat. It's not like a deep wound, it's just like it's a nasty sort of ragged scratch, which is going to be a pain for him. But Michael, in comparison, he was unhorsed and damaged, certainly. Maybe in a fair fight it would go differently, but you're not convinced. Also, Bolton's terms are like ridiculously unfair. In case anyone was wondering if this was like a standard thing, like this is way out of line for like Michael has no like legal right really to have that. You know, the terms were set; they have been broken.
Is going to send a raven to the wall and let them know what's happened. And I know a couple of the maesters up there knew my true identity. Not many, but the ones that did are the ones that she's going to send this to let them know, so that information is out there.
It's a long journey to the wall, even for a raven. But you know, you could expect within a few weeks that they would hear this, probably at best.
Yeah, but even just to have the record out there, even though there was an entire tourney full of witnesses, I don't trust what could come out of this. And I want to make sure that the truth is known.
It's done. Okay. I think as Septon Birch pretty fairly busy with Cicero, and Cicero's pretty much out of commission for a little while. You guys have a couple of hours to do whatever you would like to do. Sir Donald Lee is, quite up in arms about this whole affair, and it's like, I don't even can the man fight? I mean, look, he's already taken the blow. How can Lord Bolton allow him to fight? Tonight he needs at least a week's rest. And that Michael, I mean, he fell off his horse, all right, but it's not as though he was stabbed in the leg by his dishonorable opponent. I can scarcely believe this.
Typically, trial by combat allows the parties to choose a champion. Perhaps someone else could step up.
Oh yes, send me in your stead. I will have this, fellow. No problem for you, Lord Cicero.
And I know Birch, I don't know like how we're doing it in narrative right now, but Birch definitely like looks around looking for Sir Cyril, or basically anybody else but Donald Lee.
Yeah, it's not going to go well.
I feel like Sir Cyril would be here. At this point, I don't see him having been anywhere else.
Sure. I guess I don't answer that without him being here.
I feel like Cicero would step up as a champion. I don't think that's too much of a leap for Bastile's character there. If that was what Cicero would choose. I mean, and indeed, if it was Cicero's command, then Cicero would see that as an order. What do you want to do, Cicero?
Yeah, Cicero.
Or, as Donald Lee says, choose trial by 7. Me, Sir Cyril, yourself. We can round up some others as well who are worthy to fight against his 7. That may delay him some time. He needs to find 7 who would stand up for him. And after that display, well, there may not be 7 knights in the all 7 kingdoms who may wish to fight with your opponent there. There is no dishonor in trial by 7.
Cicero takes a deep sigh, and if it would buy us some extra time, then looks like we're gonna need 4 more men.
Aye. Trial by 7 it is then. Aye. This is good news indeed. That will delay perhaps as much as a day, if I send our terms. Yes. Well, I can talk to some of my other knightly companions. Perhaps after this there will be those of honor who would wish to stand up for what is right in this land. This is more than just a matter of a squabble between the group of you. No. This is about knightly honor. Yes. Do you have any other knightly friends who I should speak with, Lord Cicero?
Cicero motions for Sir Cyril to... He asks him to go and propose these terms to Lord Bolton and the Blackwood House. And once he's left, he turns back to Sir Donald. There's another price within these walls. Find him.
Aye. I will. As for the rest of you, if you can think or find anyone else who would be willing to help us in this, we may not have much time. And Sir Donald Lee sets off.
This is so great. Sorry, I'm just tickled.
Yeah. Oh, yikes.
So,
would love,
assuming
like-
that we get Sir Cyril, other Sir Price on board, you have, what, 4? So you need 3 knights. And they do have to be knights.
Yeah.
But I will mention this to you, for those of you who are knights, it is not uncommon practice to knight someone for a trial by 7. It is well documented that squires are often knighted for a trial by 7.
Oh no, not Sir. Oh no. Oh, poor Squire Reynard.
God.
He's gonna just be Squire Redshirt. He did. Oh no, bad times. Oh.
Oh, man.
You could try and, get him out of prison if you wish to, knight him for the trial. You could argue that he's needed. But there are 64 knights here at the competition. You could probably find someone.
Allied houses, and someone's got to be on our side after that complete display of.
Yeah, you've met Sir Broad Cockshaw so far.
Oh, yeah, he seems helpful. Cicero
There must be others
yeah.
there who value honor.
What about
And
the lady that
withstand
you
it.
gave your favor to? Perhaps she would know some knights.
It'd be a tough one to ask. But, if I still hold her favor, she may be of some use.
It's laughing at you, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, his eyes are pretty much downcast for that sentence, and he takes a quick look at Kaylee. And, he's deep in thought for a moment, and looks up. What if we asked the Blackwoods for Sir Underin?
Do you think that a wise choice?
It would at least get us an answer as to whether or not he's alive.
She looks at Devrin and Birch. Do you hold any opinions here, either of you?
I think if they have him at all, he's not gonna be in any sort of shape to fight here. What did he tell us if he's alive?
That's about as much as I can hope for at this point.
But do we think they have the honor to tell us that he's actually here? They've broken guest right. Why would they ever uphold any of the other things that we believe to be true?
Can't be sure that they will. Can't be sure of anything at this point.
the beating that he took
Oh,
whenever they
yes.
took him in. And perhaps they would think it funny that we would request him. I don't see them lying about it. If they think it's only going to hurt us versus help.
So it's him, Sir Donald, two Prices, myself.
My lord, forgive me for speaking out of turn, but there is someone in this tent who I've seen fight you quite a few times, who I saw stare from the sidelines during the practice before we left House McNair. He turns, like, looking to Kaylee, because I think we established in session 0 that y'all were, like, sparring and, like, fought each other on a pretty regular basis. If she can make it this far, hidden behind a disguise, why not this one as well? It's a bit out there, I know, but we don't exactly have a lot of friends right now.
Cicero turns toward Kaylee. Just kind of raises his eyebrows as to trying to see what she thinks of this.
You know I'd give my life. Always have. But I'm not tonight. And if it had to be a very clever plan, and how tall was this Anderson again? He's
Which
quite young.
Which person?
The one that's in captive.
Oh, Anderin. Yeah, I mean, he was like a pretty built kind of guy. But if you're wearing a suit of armor, anyone looks pretty built.
If they do give us him, if he's alive, I could take his armor. But are you okay with that, Cicero? Is your choice.
After Sir Cyril returns with the reception of our request, see if we can find more knights. But if that is our only option, I regret to say I'll have to ask that favor of you.
Kaylee kind of like smirks. You know that I could probably best you or most of these knights here, so trying to just like throw a little humor into it.
Cicero gives a slight smile. And then he tries to stand up, but his wound probably pushes him back onto the bed. Could I request some privacy for a moment?
Kaylee nods, looks around. Of course. I mean, the Birch is Septimus at work, but
Birch will kind of address the situation, see if he can just kind of set Cicero for,
Sure.
enough time, like 10-15 minutes, and just return.
Yeah,
and
he'll
need
like,
some water.
yeah, he'll survive. He'll survive you being absent for a while. Diviol to pay today, £12. Get your duel on for nat 20s for Cicero. I need them.
God.
All right then. So, who's left in the room then? Just Cicero and who else?
Me, but I will leave if Cicero wants to be alone.
Yeah, Cicero asks Septon Birch to just bring him back a clean bucket of water. And then, noticing that Valiant is still in the room, just kind of gives her a solemn nod towards the door.
And she nods, and she leaves.
And from outside the tent, you can kind of hear the clattering of him removing the rest of his armor. Very haphazardly, with a few winces and grunts as he adjusts to the wound.
I guess Kaylee I guess they're just kind of outside the tent, sort of just not going to go far with him, and they're trying to stand up with a gash gnarly to him. And she kind of just leans down on her knees in the dirt, kind of with her hands on her head, just kind of in disbelief of everything that's happened. And she's gonna keep trying to be very positive, optimistic about it, but it's just this could go so wrong. And Devon, well, can't believe I didn't see it.
No one did. No, you didn't want them to.
I suppose you've gained some skills since being gone, then.
Had to learn things. And they helped me survive. I don't recommend it.
No, I don't think anyone would. They're going to pay for this, you know.
They'd better.
One way or another.
They'd better.
You guys are having this conversation. You'll notice that there are two knights approaching you. They are twins. Twin men, both in their 30s, pretty early 30s. It's quite rare to see twins. They look very similar to one another, and as you can tell immediately, they would be brothers. One of them steps forward. They're both red-headed. There's sort of shock of red hair in their beards as well. And he says, "Is this the tent of Lord McNair?" Lady McNair. Mm-hmm.
It is, yes. And she looks at now Lady McNair.
Yeah, the two of them bow in respect to Valiant. My lady, we've not had the pleasure of meeting before. My name is Arvin Oakhart, and this is my brother Hector. We're here to assist in any way we can.
I appreciate that, sirs.
Aye, we saw the dishonorable display upon the battlefield with Lord Blackwood there, and well, we stand up for what's right. Oh, good, have our blades in this trial by 7. Good, offer them to you.
My thanks. I need to discuss that with my brother.
Aye, how fares Lord McNair?
Ultimately, his decision stands with him. But I appreciate the gesture, and I appreciate your bliss. And should things go from bad to worse, House McNair is grateful to you and to have you with us.
Aye. We'll wait here then. Let us know what the Lord says.
Indeed. What do I know about their house?
You want me a status check? On
Sure.
them?
Could you? So it was Arvin and who else?
Arvin
Was he
and
the name?
Hector.
All right, awesome. Thanks. Just wanted to get
I just
for
felt.
notes.
Yeah, no worries. Arvin, and of course, slightly differently than it should be.
Status check.
Wow, Jesus, these rolls tonight, Jen, have been absolutely insane.
Yeah.
They are a status 1 or 2 households. Barely, like on the maps. The oak carts are actually from farther south. Then you almost directly south from the McNair's. And they are just knights, basically. They are landed knights. There isn't a lord to their house. So presumably Arvin is the the head of the household, and his brother Hector, who's a little bit younger than him, is the other knight in their house.
Okay. I will, when there's an appropriate time to go back into Cicero's room, into the tent, I will go in and tell him what's happened.
Okay.
So
It's your decision, Cicero. But we have had an offer of swords.
Shall have dinner with them tonight. We'll decide from
Indeed.
there.
Understood. So I'll go back out to them and I'll say, my lord, sirs, my brother would like to dine with you this evening.
Hey, and as well. Will you be there too, Lady McNair?
I believe so. Yes.
Very well. I'll wear something nice.
We shall see, my lord.
They both bow, almost in unison, and turn to leave, waiting for the evening to return for dinner.
We need to send someone to check about, the boy, before it's too long.
Yeah, it's sort of around this time that Sir Donald Lee is coming back. They've accepted our terms. Trial by 7 tomorrow at dawn. Do we have any other knights? I have found literally no one.
We have an offer from the Oakharts. We're going to dine with them tonight.
Okay. Yes. Hector, good lads.
I don't know how they fight, but they have offered their swords.
I've fought with an Arvin in the duels before. He's a fine knight.
Good to know.
So we have, assuming those 5, 2 more.
One more.
What? Wait, 5 plus 2. So
The boy of ours that they have trapped, he will fight. If
Squire.
we are giving him back, yes.
why I do not doubt his bravery and his willingness to do so. Is he really up for a trial by 7? I mean, let's be clear on the rules here. Whilst it is a fight between Lord Cicero and Lord Blackwood, the first who yield or die, between them the fight will be off, but in the meantime, it's fair game. Boy would be killed. Possibly. I'm sure he's a very fine knight, but do we trust him in such a circumstance?
I think the boy knows the circumstances. And I think that you'll see that he'd fare a bit better than you'd think.
Knights are not in the business of entering a fight with fear, knowing that they'll win. Knights enter with courage, knowing that they can lose.
Right.
Fire
Well,
Rhino-
I guess I can go up there and see if they'll release him.
You should.
It'd be greatly appreciated.
All right.
You've been nothing but kind to us all. A real friend. Flashes a bright
No.
smile at him.
I would do anything. You would do the same for me. I do not doubt it for a moment. And he strides back up. Okay, so for our viewer
as
decisions,
soon-
we just hit 20
Sorry, as soon as he
retweets.
walks
Well,
away,
go ahead.
I don't know that we should trust the food tonight. I think we should be cautious.
I agree.
In fact, I think we should be more cautious than normal in all things tonight, but in particular, swords from a house we don't know well, and now our battle with the Blackwoods has escalated, and we must find a way to ensure our safety until tomorrow, because we know that they will not fight fair. And we shouldn't either.
What do you suggest we do, my lady?
I don't know. The same trick won't work twice, so I think we must use caution for now, and if a moment presents itself, we'll do what we can. If any of you have ideas, bring them forward.
I feel as if we're stuck between a rock and a hard place in what we can do other than set plans.
I don't disagree.
So we have hit 20 retweets, which means we've got a viewer decision, and I would like you guys to, underneath this line in chat, suggest some ideas for who else offers their sword to the McNairs. Maybe a new returning knight or someone of honor from across Westeros. Who else offers their swords? The night passes by, Sir Donald, I guess evening passes by, Sir Donald Lee returns with news that they will allow Squire Roynir to be seconded, and he is with him as well. He's also managed to gain the sword of Lord Price, although Sir Cyril has yet to return. Presumably his tasks are taking him some time. But nonetheless, you have your dinner date tonight with the two new knights who you haven't met before, Arvin and Hector Oakhart. They arrive at your tent. Presumably you have just food brought in from somewhere, rather than needing to go anywhere else. They do not bring anything. They don't wear anything nice, other than they're just like nightly outfits, basically. They're still wearing their sort of like breastplates, have their weapons on their side. Arvin has one particularly deadly looking morning star on his hip, while his brother Hector wields an axe which looks like it would take a man in two. They're both very well built. And a quick ask around about the Oakharts is that they are referred to as the Black Knights. And you're not sure why, but that is apparently the name that they go by, at least on the 20 field. The two Black Knights. And the two of them show up. Arvin and Hector both bow. Arvin seems to be the one that speaks. Hector lets him speak for him. My lord, my lady. It's a pleasure to be here. Hope that you're feeling better, Lord McNair.
Oh, he's, still hurts a bit, but that's to be expected. Very gracious to you, roughing your swords and, your axe.
Aye. Well, that's no trouble. We stand up for what's right. At least we try to. We saw what happened down there. Most dishonorable on Michael's behalf, and truth be told, we've heard a wee thing or two about him that we didn't like anyway, so throwing our swords in with you, I can't admit that it's a totally selfless thing to do. After all, we'll be in front of Lord Bolton and the rest of the Lords and Ladies in Westeros. This is quite the chance for us to Show what you're made of.
I'd be suspicious if they were selfless reasons. At least I know your selfishness will keep your loyalty to the Seven on our side. Please, have a seat.
They do so. And break, the customary bread and salt, I suppose, of offering. So, what other knights will we be fighting by? Assuming, of course, that you'd be willing to take our swords. Or, well, we don't really use swords.
I noticed that. Well, there's myself, Sir Donald, two of the Price family, yourselves, and Squire Roynard, soon to be a knight.
That's the wee boy that you're doing this thing for.
I
Very well, he should fight in it.
figure
That's
it's
for
the
the
best
others.
way to ensure that his life is protected as if he has to fight for it himself.
Aye. Well said, my lord. As for Sir Donald Lee, he might be an oaf, but I ain't seen none better on the battlefield. I hear that,
Training for today.
I hear that the enemy have a few on their side as well that we should be on the, I know about. Sir Nathan Timber, Sir Orland Swiggert, Sir Everin Boatwright. Those are the three that I know of, at least. You see his names in Fancy Grand Speakers. Hey, those three have answered his call, at least so far. Wouldn't be surprised if Lord Bolton is, well, a friendship with the Blackwoods may stretch quite far.
You said
Many would be happy to win the favour of Lord Bolton.
You said Boatwright.
Hey, you know the Boatwrights?
I know them. Thought we was friendly with them, but tournaments do tend to bring out people's true intentions.
He nods. Yeah. We got a saying from where I come from. Don't trust a Boatwright. It's not a good saying, but it stands true. My people were pretty simple.
Seems so.
Those Boatwrights. Well, I've heard from where we come from. We're not too far away from the Dreadfort itself. Plenty of houses have been funding and fueling the Boltons, their armies. Sending them arms and the like. Those Blackwoods have been sending a fair lot downriver as well, my lord. And those Boatwrights have been facilitating it as well. There's more than just timber that they're shipping off down in those boats. I've seen weapons, barding, siege equipment, the likes of which I haven't seen in a long time. We should be careful, my lord. Times like these, difficult to know who to trust.
This is not the first I've heard of houses that were supposed to be otherwise allied, preparing for something bigger. There's something happening. I'm not sure yet what it is, but there's something.
Troubles are brewing then, as I suspected. Well, it's good to hear someone else say it. All those lot down south where we are, too quiet for my liking. They're all in bed with Bolton. He may be my liege lord, but he's no friend of mine.
They wouldn't be
Speaking of
happy to have
reputation.
fight. I'm sorry, Cicero. You were saying.
Speaking of reputation, I hear you called the Black Knights. If you're to fight alongside me, I'd like to know why.
He gives you a long look. Yeah. I've got a bit of a fearsome reputation, I suppose. Yeah, my brother, they call us the Black Knights because it's rare that our opponents live to tell the tale. Been a few incidents in the jousts and the like where, well, accidents happen, you know. When you strike through of a lance, if it goes into a man's brain, he's gonna die. If you're in a melee and you strike a man with a morning star in the face, his brain is gonna be pulped. It happens.
Well, if there
We're
are...
no strangers to death, Lord McNair. Me and my brother.
That is a strength. It's a good thing you're on my team.
You ever killed before, Lord McNair?
Aye.
Good.
Not like this, though.
The first time is the worst. Scary thing is, it gets easier.
Well. Just have to be a fast learner. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. And if any accident should happen... Well, I think you know what dishonor should be punished with.
There are men who are honourable knights, Lord McNair, and there are men that are honourable knights and willing to do the right thing, even if it's dirty work. Me and my brother are men such as those. We'll kill for you. We'll kill anyone. If it's the right thing to do. If it's not, well, then we'll kill you.
Well then, try and stay in the right myself.
Best that we do. Keeps us all honest. And, Lady McNair, this, talk of torture and the like, if you could speak to it more, I would hear it.
It is not a thing for polite company.
We're not polite. Begging your pardon, miss.
It is not a thing that I would like to think about right now.
Not everyone wants to relive their horrors, you know.
I can understand that, but most.
The dungeons of the Blackwoods are more terrifying than anything I could have ever imagined. By far. And I would not wish them upon anyone, not even the Blackwoods themselves.
Very well. Then I make you this promise, Lady McNair. If your brother dies tomorrow, if all of us die, well, if he dies before the rest of us do and the fight is over, I'll make you this promise. If he's dead and not able to avenge you, then I'll help. I will kill this man for you.
And a tear runs down Valiant's cheek. Thank you.
You're all right.
Takes a swig of her wine and puts it down. Tomorrow morning, then.
If you'll have us, Lord McNair.
Don't think I could find better men. Thank you.
Oh, I've no doubt you could find better men. You'll not find better killers.
Not for this purpose. You'll do just fine. Thank you, my lords.
Hey. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you, Lord McNair, and you, Lady Valiant. We'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Ranman, Sir Hector, thank you.
Hector nods silently. And the two of them turn and leave.
I think that I need air. It's awfully stuffy in here. And Kaylee stands up to go and step outside the tent.
Air does sound good. And Birch will do the same thing and take his leave, leaving Valiant and Cicero at the table.
What are your thoughts?
They're a pleasant dinner company. That's not exactly what we need them for.
No.
If they've promised to kill Michael, if I can't, then they sound like exactly what you need.
They said the right things.
Let's hope that they do the right things.
I would agree.
Don't feel we have much of an option. They're the only ones that you can trust right now. The ones who have willingly given their swords to us, and well, given the situation with the prices, be interesting to see if Cyril will stay in the fight.
Well, that is something, though, isn't it? A banner house of the Blackwoods and the Boltons, fighting with the McNairs. Perhaps it is a new day.
Sure hope so.
Cicero shifts uncomfortably on his leg again. And, just kind of leans back, just as the tension of this meeting really just leaves him visibly.
So outside, Kaylee and Septon Birch, you guys are getting some fresh air.
So Kaylee turns to Birch. Did you use up all your packing, treating his wound? I may need some binding for tomorrow to fit into his armor.
He looks at her and just says, No, there's plenty of everything to spare. Are you okay with this? Sorry if I was too forward in there. I know you're capable of this.
No trouble running into a fight. Especially not one in the honor of a friend in a house that I owe my whole world to. I just wonder if I'm found out what sort of shame it'll bring everyone.
Well, then I best suppose you don't get found out.
That's true.
Tomorrow you will win. Because you have to. For him. For all of us. McNairs will win. He says, and you can kind of pick up some apprehension in his voice. but he's trying to like put on a little brave face right now.
So Kaylee kind of smiles and like reaches over and like puts her hand on his shoulder. We'll hold our home, yes?
Of course. I'm gonna go for a bit of a walk. You have a good night, Miss Kaylee. And Birch turns and begins to walk away.
Okay. It's around this time, Kaylee, that a lone horseman approaches the tent. He's an older gentleman who is wearing a very nice set of armor. It looks to be very old. You can quickly identify that this is an old suit. You may, in fact, recognize the banner and the colors which he wears as that of House Glover. House Glover are a somewhat more significant household within the North, who are one of the older families, and as such carry with them a great amount of respect and honor. This knight who rides upon this horse is an older gentleman, far past his prime, and he dismounts. On his hip there is a very nice-looking long sword, and he is grayed and wrinkled and somewhat tired-looking. And he looks at you and says, "Go! Have I found myself at the right tent, or have I gotten lost again?"
That depends on what tent you're looking for, sir.
Or which tent have I found?
The McNair.
Oh, that's the right one. Okay, well, if I could see your lord, that would be marvelous. I am Sir Reynold Glover.
Sir? Yes, you may perhaps see my lord.
Oh,
and she
perhaps I may.
beckons towards him. Come, let's step inside.
Blimey. He does so and pokes his head through the tent flaps as Kaylee kind of steps in. "Sorry if I'm intruding." Well, actually, I'm not sorry. I am intruding. I am Sir Reynold Glover.
Cicero immediately stiffens up again,
Leans forward
and looks up at him.
Why, Sir Glover. Welcome to our tent. What can we do for you?
It's all right here. So, some drink would be marvelous, and any food if you have some. My constitution is not quite what it was back in my day. I would go whole days without eating food. It's dreadful.
Cicero motions to whatever is left on the table.
Please help yourself.
He immediately does so. Oh, good food this. Well, down to the business at hand. I hear there's a trial by 7. The honor of knights is being tested. And I saw that Michael Blackwood there on the jousting field, Lord McNair. I'm old enough to remember your father. He was a good man. That display down there, I would suggest that you are one as well. So, if you're in need of a sword, then you would have mine.
Cicero's he's tallied up in his head the 7 fighters that he already has. But he's still unsure of whether or not he wants the boy to join. Although he does believe that Squire Roynard should fight for his own life, fears that he may lose it in doing so. So he sits for a moment and thinks it over, and looks back up.
Says, "Do you think yourself just as good a fighter as you were with my father?"
No. I am foolish enough to believe that I possess the strength and skill I once had in my youth. Though I will suggest to you that I have more wisdom than I had back in those days.
And at least you have honesty. You're honored to have your sword.
Very well. Then whom will I be fighting alongside? I've already heard of the prices, Sir Donald Lee. Some talk of a squire being involved. The Black Knights, is it not? Who is our 7th?
Wait.
He's only left out Kaylee.
Right, okay. I was like counting up in my head. I was like, yeah, that's 7. Okay, no, it's not. Alright. Cicero glances around and realizes it's gotten pretty late in the day. And he looks over to Kaylee.
Think you're up for a fight?
What have I not been?
True enough. May I introduce you to our 7th, Sir Glover.
You most certainly may. Who... my eyes must deceive me. Or they have grown even crustier with age. For, if I am not mistaken, I do see a woman here before me.
No, you are not mistaken.
I am not familiar with this knight.
She's no knight yet. She's a very dear friend.
Good. Well, that is unconventional. Certainly. But... fair enough. Let us hope you have the same strength as the Mormonts, my lady.
Would you like to test your blade?
If I were 20 years younger, I would take that as an invitation. No, I trust that if this Lord McNair has faith in you, then you have my faith as well, young lady. It's been a while since I fought beside a woman. But let me tell you, they are just as fierce on the battlefield as they may be in the bedroom. Be careful, Lord McNair.
Always am, Sir Glover.
Well, we will have a tournament to be remembered then. This is perhaps the strangest assortment of 7 that I have ever heard of. Perhaps we will make the history books yet, my friends. Well, I can tell that you have much to think of. I will be back here at dawn for training and practice.
Very good, Sir Glover. Enjoy your night. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Likewise. May the old gods bless us, and the 7 as well. He turns to me.
Cicero is kind of thrown by this, but he nods.
It's more of a jest about Trial by 7, I think. Really comes across that way.
Okay.
Glovers Glovers are from Deepwood Mott, so they're like super old gods. You know, these guys are, you know, close in age of their house to like the Starks. Their house bloodline runs back a very, very long way. But yeah, the elderly knight turns and leaves. Despite his age, he carries himself with a grace and poise of one who was clearly well trained and very athletic in his youth. But as Sir Donald, it's not Sir Donald Glover. That's a different knight. So Reynold Glover leaves, and you have your 7 as night falls. Septon Birch heads off into Blackwood Hall, and the rest of you rest, waiting for the battle on the morrow. And I think that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Hello.
Go on.
Oh, man, just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Birch, on his walk, wants to find a tavern, wants to write a short letter with the symbol he was given by the man that just says, "In the morn, 2 sets of 7 shall meet. The Lord draws the sword, donned with glee, and the accused thief, with twice the price, in betwixt the blackest of nights." Letting this person know the exact 7 that Cicero has picked to represent House McNair.
Awesome. Kaylee, did you have a last thing here as well?
I was just pointing to make sure he...
Oh, yeah, no worries, yeah. Oh, man, awesome. So, yeah, you hand it off, and that is where the curtain closes for tonight upon the War of the Roses. Thank you guys for watching. Holy shit, that was an intense episode, as things are really heating up after a slow burn for the first couple of episodes here. But what, episode 4? Yeah, this is where things are kicking off, and blood has been drawn. We have first blood. In this fight. It actually goes to Sir Michael Blackwood, but that is not the end of affairs. For on the morrow we have Trial by 7. So, man, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the show, let us know. If you haven't followed the show yet, hit the follow button. Join us. Of course, next week we'll be back with Steel Rain and Sir Cyril Price. So the full crew will be back for yet another episode. But holy moly! Oh, let's give away a set of dice here as well. Exclamation point loot there in the chat. But as we do that giveaway, let's go around the cast and crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you guys online? Let's start with Jen. How was that?
That was awesome. I'm so happy to finally not have to keep the secret anymore. Yeah, that was awesome. I'm so excited to see what happens next. I can't wait. Things are heating up, you guys. Yeah, so I am Jen. I am DreamWisp on Twitter. I am DreamWisp Jen on Twitch. I talk about a lot of D&D. And when I'm not here, I am in the real world producing your quality television. So that's what I do day to day. But this was so much fun. I'm so excited to see where this is going. And please don't die, everybody. Please don't die.
I'm so worried about everyone. It's so easy to die in this game. Oh man, Joseph, I thought I might have killed you there as well. But how was that today, my friend?
Oh, it was very stressful. I was sweating during the joust. I had a hoodie on for like the beginning of this, and I like took it off. I was just like, this is getting to be too much. But yeah, my goodness, things are definitely getting really crazy. But at least all of the secrets that we have are out there now. Or are they? I'm Joseph. I'm playing Cicero McNair. You can find me on Twitter at JosephIsNotFast. Thanks for watching, guys.
Awesome. Hitty, how was that?
That was great. It was a really, really nice amount of story to come out. Like, very satisfying episode. Like, I don't want to end. Like, I want to keep on. I want to just like dive right into it. But no, that was fantastic. I'm excited to see how it goes. I hope no one dies yet. I feel like we just got started. But yeah, no, I am Awkward Kitty Inc. I am a creative and a roleplay streamer here on Twitch. Make all kinds of arts, and I like to roleplay within video games. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, everything as Awkward Kitty Inc. Check me out.
Awesome, amazing stuff. And last but not least, Bird, how was that, my friend?
That ruled, man. Everyone was so good. Everything is so great. I mean, it's really terrible, but it's so interesting and compelling. I don't know. I love this game. I'm Bird versus Plane, basically everywhere. Twitter, Twitch. You can find me streaming on my channel for various charities. You can find me on Unmade Gaming, on Tall Squall's Twitch, Bird in the Storm Publishing, a bunch of places. I'm so excited for next week. And yeah, just to echo, I just want to keep going. I want to see this story. Oh, it's so good.
Man, I've got no idea where this is going, but I'm excited about it. And man, I'm excited to keep introducing scarier, darker NPCs as we go, and continue for this the scary, dark storyline to come to a head here next week in what's set to be a sort of a mini little climax, I guess, of this current arc at Blackwood Hall, as things are really going to kick off with a trial by 7. But let's pick the winner for that giveaway. The winner is Chaos the Monkey Boy. Congratulations, my friend. You just won yourself a set of tabletop loot dice. I'll be in touch here in just a few seconds. But let's go to host and raid a friend of ours, Simply Jackson. Oh, she's streaming right now. Kitty knows her. She's
My
a really
roommate.
cool streamer. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's go into the next room and continue this
Over
party
there.
on there. Yeah, amazing. But until next time, my friends, we're back tomorrow at time of 5 p.m. Eastern for Vampire the Masquerade. So join us then for that. But until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Farewell. Bye.